This week at the Free Farm, we are going to be harvesting our garlic scapes, we're going to be planting some cucumbers, and we're going to be finally getting our peppers into the ground. Many beginner gardeners tend to shy away from growing garlic because they see it as being a more advanced crop to grow, but it's actually really easy. I didn't add any kind of fertilizer to this bed in the fall when we planted the garlic. All we did was cover it with some straw and left it for the winter. When it came up, again, I didn't add any amendments to the soil. We tried to keep the weeds at bay a little bit, but of course with the straw, we got a lot of straw weeds coming up, which was fine. They didn't really compete too much with the garlic, so that's been great. But now we are going to harvest the garlic scapes. So these scapes are the flower stalk, and if we leave them on there too long, we'll end up with smaller bulbs. So you can harvest your garlic scapes basically at any stage of growth, but we tend to wait until there are at least 2 loops of the garlic scape, and some people will also just pull them as soon as they see them. In the research, there is evidence to suggest that you should pull them as soon as you see the scapes coming up. But if you like the taste of the garlic scapes, they tend to be a little bit milder than the cloves, then you can get another harvest out of your garlic. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do mostly all of them unless the scapes are just starting to emerge, but we're not going to pull just the ones that have begun to loop. We're going to pull them at a good significant length, maybe 8 inches or so, and then larger. There is also a lot of debate about how to harvest your garlic scapes. Some people suggest that you should only cut them right where they emerge from the garlic stalk. Other people say that you can just snap them off, which is possible. Some people do pull the scape, give a little bit of a tug on it, which will pull up more from the kind of main stem of the garlic, so you get a little bit more of the scape. But there might be an issue with that technique where water travels down the stem and into your bulb of the garlic and begins to rot it. Now, I've done it both ways, cutting it and pulling it out of the stem, and I haven't really seen a benefit of doing it either way. I haven't seen negative effects of pulling the scape right out of the garlic, but keep that in mind. So if you want a little bit of a bigger garlic scape harvest and you don't have much rain in the forecast, you might be able to get away with just pulling them right out. If you're going to use the method where you cut them either with snips or a knife of some sort, you want to make sure that one, your tool is clean before you cut your plants. That way you're not introducing any diseases, pathogens, germs into your plant. Although some people say that the garlic is antibiotic, so maybe it's not as necessary as I'm saying. But then I would also suggest that you clean your tools after you harvest, because I don't know if you call it sap or the liquid that comes out is a little bit sticky, so it can stick to your scissors or your knife, and then you have tools that are going to smell like garlic for a while. So here I've got some nice clean secateurs, snips, whatever you want to call them. And we've got a nice garlic scape that has 1.25 loop there. And we're going to cut at a bit of an angle. That way, if any water does happen to land on there, it'll get shunted off to the side. This one is a little bit smaller, hasn't begun to loop, but I'm still going to cut this one. Because what we're really after is larger bulbs, because that's where we're going to get the most weight for our harvest. I do apologize for the wind. There is very little that I can do about that. Unfortunately, that is a drawback of being an outdoor social media influencer. I don't know if I call myself that yet. Or YouTuber. I don't know. You tell me. I think I'm going to put you guys on a time lapse to conserve battery and get these done. So from that one bed, we've got almost a full bucket of garlic scapes. We'll go get these weighed at home and then we'll drop them off at the food bank. All right, it is Thursday, June 25th, and I'm getting peppers into the ground. I've tilled them, added some fertilizer. So the fertilizer is essentially an equal NPK. Should help to encourage a little bit more green growth from these peppers, and then facilitate the flowering and fruiting of the plants. So hopefully that'll work out. Our spacing for the peppers is 2 by 2. So we've got about 50 feet or so here, and we're just going every 2 feet, and then roughly 2 feet between the rows. You could probably get away with planting closer together at home in our raised beds. We typically plant 1 pepper per square foot, but we've got the space here, and I just hope that it will result in a better yield. So right now I'm just doing something a little bit different than what I usually do, is just laying them all out first, and then I'll come through and plant them all. Usually I plant as I go, but I gotta try something different today. I'm hoping that I don't have too many left over. I know I've got other beds, but we've got cucumbers still to plant, and that will probably be tomorrow. And if I dig up this section where the rototiller kind of gouged it out, could probably get the rest of these in. Or do I want to plant them at home? I think I'm going to plant them at home. So if you didn't know, peppers are in the same family as potatoes and tomatoes. They're nightshades or solanaceae. It's just the trivia for today. So the rototiller will till about 6 inches down. It does the job, but it's just not very deep if you're starting kind of a newer plot. So these peppers were started in, I believe, end of February, beginning of March. We potted them up not too long ago, maybe last month, and their roots have completely filled out those second containers there. And at this point, I don't tend to like loosen up the roots, or I really don't like to disturb the roots. So if I don't have to, and they're not too root bound in their pots, I just pull them out and plop them into their hole. Make sure that there's good soil contact with the roots that are at the edges, and that's it. So you don't have to loosen them up. They will find their way into your new soil. Yeah, you don't have to do anything to really help them out too much, unless now this is typically what people will recommend when you are getting your potted plants from a nursery, because they've started a little bit earlier and they've been in those pots for a little bit longer, then they're likely going to be slightly root bound. So if you're getting them from a nursery and you see that they're really dense and you don't see much potting soil between your roots, then you can gently tease them out and that'll help. But when you start your own, you don't have to worry about that. What you might have to worry about is if you're starting your own plants from seed and you're using your own homemade compost and you don't necessarily care about separating seedy weeds before they go into the compost, you'll end up with some weeds in your pots. But that's okay, they're pretty easy to distinguish between your plant and the weed, and they're also really easy to pull out. So what I would really love to get is like one of those little garden carts that I could scoot around here on. So if you are a company that makes garden carts, please send me an email, kawarthabackyardfarms@gmail.com, and offer to sponsor, because I would love to get around here a little bit easier when I'm planting and doing some of the weeding. all of these peppers are Cal Wonder, so they're a bell pepper variety. There's a couple of reasons why I only did bell peppers. The first one is that because these are all going to be donated, not a lot of people in our area tend to really like the spicy peppers. So giving away the spicy peppers is a challenge. And then two, I didn't have too many spicy pepper seeds. So we just did the bell peppers. All right, I'm gonna bring you in closer. Got some sort of weed here. Toss that out to the side. Ooh, ants. I could actually use your help with something. Need a little bit of constructive feedback. Might be opening myself up to some pretty nasty stuff here. I do not have the gift of the gab, as it is probably fairly evident. So I don't know what I am doing trying to become a YouTube garden gnome. But if you have any suggestions about how to communicate better on camera, like I always say, I'm more used to talking to plants and rather than people. So if you have suggestions about how to make my communication a little bit more clearer, a little bit more concise, and a little bit more entertaining, please let me know in the comments below. And if you don't have any suggestions for that, please let me know what you are planting this week down below. So you may be thinking this spacing is quite a lot, and you'd be right, I guess. It is quite a bit of spacing between the plants, especially for our growing zone. Peppers, I'm going to guess that they're going to fill out to be about 1 square foot or so in total area that they cover. So I guess if we have 2 square feet between each plant, there's going to be half a foot this way, half a foot that way, and then you're going to have a good amount of space in between. And a lot of people will plant their crops so that when they are at their mature size, their leaves are touching. That helps to conserve water because the soil is going to be shaded. It also helps to cut down on weed pressures because then there's less sunlight getting down to the soil to help those seeds germinate. But since we are new to this plot and it hasn't been worked, it's just been allowed to grow lots of weeds and perennial weeds in particular, I actually want to have a little bit more room between my crops so that I can come in with my little electric rototiller and scuff up the surface, get rid of those persistent weeds that I know that we're going to have. So that's why there's a little bit more room than what maybe others are planting or recommending to plant. But it's just food for thought. You can plant however you want to plant. My last tip before I put you on to the time lapse to get the rest of this bed finished is to pull your flowers off of your peppers before you plant them. So these ones, this one here has a few little flowers starting. It's got this big flower starting right there. When we transplant our peppers, we want to make sure that they are focusing on putting down some good, healthy root growth to then put more energy into fruit production later on in the season. So right now we want that root growth. We don't want it to be focusing on flowering and producing fruit, because then that's going to kind of tell it that its life cycle is drawing near, and we still have another few months before that happens. So pull the flowers off, tell the plant to focus on root growth. That's going to be a bit deeper. There we go. And that's that. Put you on a time lapse and we'll get the other 49 pepper plants done. All right, that is it for today. The peppers are in and they are watered, so now they've just got to do the work and grow. And I will come back tomorrow, likely, to plant out some cucumbers as well. If you are enjoying this content, this kind of vlog style videos for our weekly kind of updates of what we're doing at the free farm, please leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and share the content with other people who you think might enjoy it. And if you work for a company that would like to sponsor one of our crops, or would like to sponsor some videos, or would like to do some collaborations, please send me an email at kawarthbackyardfarms@gmail.com and we can get started. We're pepper fishing. Good morning and welcome back. I hope that you had a very restful sleep last night, and we are going to plant some cucumbers here. I think we're going to do 2 beds of cucumbers. The spacing is going to be about 12 inches apart, so 1 foot apart in the rows, and then we're going to have 2 rows per bed. So our beds are about 50 feet again, so we should get well, we'll have enough room for 200 cucumbers, and I think we've got 72, 148. Yeah, so we should have more than 200 cucumbers, so we'll have a little bit of extra to plant at home as well, similar to the peppers. Yeah, so we've got 50 feet. I'm going to take this little weeding tool, a little triangular hoe, and yeah, I'm not exactly sure what this is called. If you know what this is called, please leave a comment down below. It's got like a rake on one side, a little bit of a not terribly sharpened edge on the sides, but you can use that to like scrape the weeds out, and then it's got obviously a point to get in between some tighter crops. But I'm going to use this to dig out a little trench and drop our cucumbers in. I don't want to dig a hole for every one again. This tool is actually really great for like setting your trenches up for potatoes. tons and tons of rocks. So I'm going to do 2 rows that are spaced apart, a good distance, maybe 18 inches or so. And then I'll set up some like fencing or trellis, something for them to climb up. So we'll have 2 on this one. And then on the second bed that I do, I'll do 2 rows as well, but closer together. And then we'll do 1 trellis. And I want to see if there'll be kind of a difference in, not necessarily production, but ease of kind of setup and maintenance, especially for weeding and whatnot. So now we'll plop these down. 1, 2, 3. So similar to tomatoes, cucumbers will send out advantageous roots. So I'm not necessarily concerned about how deep these are planted, and I mean they can be covered up to that first leaf, and I'm not too worried about that. If I was doing like a larger field, it would be great to have it have like one of those trailer attachments where you can have somebody riding in the back and planting the plants and another person just driving. And yesterday I had already added in some fertilizer, so it was just the same stuff that I used for the peppers. The cucumbers, peppers, they're both fairly heavy feeders, so I wanted to make sure that these did have enough nutrients there. We also have like a ton of cucumber beetles still that we're still battling. So I know that's going to be an issue, but I have been reading, and apparently the more nutrients that is in your soil that the plants can take up, that's 50 there, the more sugars the plants can produce, and then that helps the plants to fight back against. Oh, some of these have a little bit of root rot. Alright, so out of that one tray with a little bit of root rot, we've got 53. Should have had 72, but that's alright. This variety of cucumbers is Market More. I don't think I necessarily have a favorite variety for cucumbers. It's just what I had seeds of. It's a beautiful summer day. It's not too hot, which is great. And today's not too windy either, which makes it nice for filming. hey, I'm not afraid to do a little hoeing for a sponsorship. If you are looking to sponsor and help support a community project, please reach out to me at kawarthabackyardfarms@gmail.com and we can talk. All right, there we go. That's one bed done. Looking pretty good, standing up. Let's do the next one. I probably won't have enough to do 2 rows in the next bed. Actually, I definitely won't. So I might just do 1 row and then put them a little bit closer together. Or I could save this row for something else, beets or something. Dilemma. All right, I've made a decision. My wife will be so proud that I was able to do that. I'm just going to do 1 bed of cucumbers, and I'm going to plant something else, maybe a succession planting of beans or peas, or maybe we'll do some beets or something else with the bush cedar. The rest of the cucumbers I'm going to plant at home, and we're going to give away to some of our community members who are growing some gardens as well. So they'll still go to a good use. I just think that 100 cucumbers is probably a significant or a sufficient amount of cucumbers for us to do this year. So now to wrap up today and this video, I'm just going to finish off with some grass cutting, and you can stick around for the time lapse if you'd like, a little montage at the end. And if you like the video, please be sure to like the video. If you're not already subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you'd like to share this content with anybody else that you think might enjoy it, that would be greatly appreciated. Have a great day.